US President Donald Trump said no Israeli troops will be going to Beirut and that all shooting will stop after talking to Benjamin Netanyahu and Hezbollah. France and its allies detained a sanctioned Russian oil tanker in the Atlantic Ocean over the weekend, whose captain refused to comply with direct orders.
A total of 291 cases of Ebola have been confirmed in the Democratic Republic of Congo and Uganda.
In a fast-moving chain of events on Monday, US President Donald Trump said no Israeli troops will be going to Beirut, and any troops on their way have already been turned back after he talked to Benjamin Netanyahu and Hezbollah. In a post on Truth Social, Trump claimed he had a very good call with Hezbollah and they agreed all shooting will stop so that Israel will not attack them and they will not attack Israel. Trump further stated in a separate post on his platform that negotiations with Tehran have continued at a rapid pace. These messages came shortly after Iran's IRGC-linked Tasnim news agency reported that Tehran decided to stop exchanging messages with the US on a peace deal following Israel's widespread offensive in Lebanon. The report also announced Iran's resolve to completely block the Strait of Hormuz and to expand its fighting fronts. However, Trump downplayed Iran's statement by telling US media that Tehran had not informed Washington of the move, claiming oil prices would drop like a rock in the very near future as he was addressing the sudden market spike. Meanwhile, Iran's foreign ministry released a statement blaming Washington for not restraining Israel from its Lebanese offensive and stating that the country is acting on the basis of its inherent right to self-defense. Additionally, two Iranian generals were quoted as saying that Tehran is prepared to undertake what they called defensive operations through game-changing measures regarding the Strait of Hormuz. France and its allies have detained a sanctioned Russian oil tanker in the Atlantic Ocean over the weekend, according to an announcement by President Emmanuel Macron. The high seas interception followed the Russian captain of the Tagor's direct refusal to comply with naval orders, forcing French forces to take physical control of the vessel. The Brest prosecutor's office has opened a formal criminal investigation into the ship's failure to prove its nationality, an absolute absence of a flag, and open non-compliance. The Kremlin's response came from spokesman Dmitry Peskov, who challenged the seizure by calling it illegal and comparing the move to piracy. President Macron condemned the activity, stating it is unacceptable for vessels to circumvent international sanctions, violate maritime law, and fund the war being waged against Ukraine for more than 4 years. The operation marks the fourth time since September that France has boarded ships suspected of belonging to Russia's unverified shadow fleet. Previous operations include the seizure of the Borachai for a suspected drone airspace violation in Denmark, as well as the boarding of the Ethera in the North Sea and the Dina in the Mediterranean. Maritime authorities warn that nearly 600 vessels are now subject to EU sanctions for utilizing flag-hopping tactics to bypass energy restrictions.
Former NATO Deputy Secretary General Mircea Joana has warned that the military alliance needed stronger low-altitude military capabilities to shoot down drones. His comments, said on Euronews program Europe Today, come after a drone crashed in the Romanian city of Galați, a port city near the border of Ukraine, last week.
I think we have to do a much better effort to try to find the right kind of air and missile defense for NATO in general. So if for mid-altitude and high altitude, let's say there are some things in place, Patriot missiles, the F-16s, the F-35s, NATO operations, for these basically low-altitude things, we are still lacking the kind of adequate means. They do exist on the market. You can acquire them. The only thing is that you have to put your right priorities in the right place.
Russian President Vladimir Putin has rejected blame for the drone crash, but the incident has further underlined the need for NATO to better equip itself against the form of modern warfare. Joanna said that NATO should keep up with the innovation cycle with much faster cycle of procurement and adaptation for this new world plan.
Hungarian Prime Minister Peter Magyar announced that the Tisza party would remove the president through a constitutional amendment. Magyar visited the Sandor Palace, where the president is seated, on Monday morning and stayed for about an hour. After leaving, Magyar told the press that he would brief the Tisza parliamentary group on possible scenarios.
Benne van a mai alaptörvényben is a megfosztási eljárás, de mi pontosan a köztársasági elnöki hivatal védelme érdekében, annak a megmaradt tekintélynek védelme érdekében nem ezt az eljárást fogjuk választani, módosítani fogjuk a szükséges módon az alaptörvényt, nem személyre szabott jogalkotással fogunk élni, mint ahogyan ezt előre próbálták jelezni és keretezni.
On election night, the new prime minister called on President Tamás Sulyok, along with other public officials, to resign, arguing that, as puppets of the previous regime, they had failed to fulfill their constitutional duties. President Sulyok announced in a social media video on Sunday that he would not resign.
Nem adna megoldást az előzőek szerinti intézményi konfliktus alkotmányos elvárásoknak megfelelő rendezésére.
Tamás Sulyok emphasized that he would not obstruct the current government from passing the laws required for EU funding. According to opinion polls, 2/3 of voters believe that the President of the Republic should step down from office.
A total of 291 cases of Ebola have been confirmed in the Democratic Republic of Congo and Uganda. These are the latest figures released by Africa Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. According to the African Union's Health Agency, the virus has killed 43 people. The outbreak is mainly affecting the DRC with 282 cases and 42 deaths. In response to the outbreak, the Coalition for Epidemic Preparedness Innovations will urgently accelerate the development of 3 investigational vaccines targeting the Bundibugyo virus responsible for the current Ebola outbreak. The World Health Organization identified these 3 vaccine candidates as the most promising ones currently under development. While vaccines are being developed, the WHO said the priority is to stop transmission with tools that have been used for decades in Ebola responses. These include disease surveillance, rapid testing, diagnosis, contact tracing, isolation and care for patients.
Japanese technology investment group SoftBank has announced plans to develop and operate 5 gigawatts of artificial intelligence data center capacity in France with an investment worth 75 billion euros.
US is going fast.
The initiative represents the centerpiece of a broader wave of technology investments, with President Emmanuel Macron confirming that the country expects 93 billion euros in total foreign commitments at this year's Choose France summit. SoftBank will deploy an initial 45 billion euros by 2031 for the first phase of the project, delivering more than 3 gigawatts of high-performance computing capacity across the Hauts-de-France region. Sites are already planned in Bosquel, Bouchan and Lune-Plage in Dunkirk, positioning France as a leading digital hub in Europe. To support this massive computing load and strengthen local supply chains, the Japanese group is partnering with French energy company EDF and Schneider Electric. The collaboration will establish a dedicated industrial hub at the port of Dunkirk, featuring specialized plants for assembling power modules and producing advanced data center enclosures. French officials stated that the strategic project will fast-track digital sovereignty while creating thousands of highly skilled jobs across engineering, robotics and advanced manufacturing.
The high seas are the areas of ocean that lie beyond national waters. It's almost half the planet. It belongs to all of us, so we all have this responsibility to look after it. It plays a very important role in terms of providing food, but also in the functioning of some of our planet's key Earth systems, such as the climate cycle and the water cycle. As we see fish stocks dwindling and technology advancing, going further and deeper into the ocean, the threats are increasing. And until now, there have been no real clear rules on how to protect this area.
Ladies and gentlemen,
The ship has reached the shore.
This is a real symbol of multilateralism, especially in this very challenging geopolitical backdrop. It's been really seen as a hope spot. It's not always necessary to be out on the ocean itself to be able to see what's happening. We see these breakthroughs in tools and technology are going to be absolutely vital to ensure that it's properly enforced, and having the sharing of data, which is going to be a key thing, and having the transparency to have access to understand what is happening there.
Word shot na categoria Right Sea Trio.
It was an amazing honour. The Earthshot Prize just shows this power of joint effort between the governments and the scientists and Indigenous people, local communities, youth and civil societies working together for so long to come together for the power of good for the planet.